Um, our- I want to start by just highlighting that Crescat's three major funds, the Global Macro Fund, the Long Short Fund, and our Precious Metals Fund, have all been performing really well year to date. And we just finished a very strong April across the board in the Global Macro Fund and the Long Short Fund, where we also have short positions as well as our activist metals long positions have been performing extremely well. So we've been trading the short side of the portfolio pretty well. And then, this comes after a couple of years where the funds, had been underperforming. And I feel there's a lot of vindication that has come for us, and a lot more still to play out, for some of our core themes that we really have stuck with, like the activist metals themes and the short positions in the overvalued mega cap tech stocks that I think there's much more to play out on as well on both of those core themes of ours firm wide, and so I think it's a lot of vindication this year, and I think there's a lot more good still to come personally. And if you look at the Preqin rankings, which is the hedge fund database that tracks over 1,500 hedge funds, these three funds were three of the top 10 performing hedge funds globally among all funds with a 3-year track record. This is through March and through March 31st. You can see that we put up even stronger returns in April. So I'm pretty hopeful that when the April Preqin rankings sort out, that we're still going to be way up there. And so we're just really excited that we're especially for our long-term committed clients, that we're really starting to deliver again and push towards new high watermarks across all of our funds. So let's go on to the next. The Precious Metals Fund performance. Now we launched this fund in August of 2020, and we're coming up on almost 5 years now since we launched this fund. In another 3 months, we will have our 5-year track record. And this slide may be a little bit hard to read. I apologize, but you can see that net of all fees since inception, now this 4.5-year track record plus, we have been outperforming all of the benchmarks. The Philadelphia Gold Silver Exchange, which is our primary benchmark, that's a large cap gold mining stock index. The GLD, which is just gold itself, the GLD Trust, the iShares Silver Trust, the Van Eck Junior Mining ETF, the GDXJ, and the GDX. Our fund has been outperforming all of these funds net of fees. This is our ex side pocket performance, by the way, so it doesn't include San Cristobal. If you include our San Cristobal side pocket, the performance is even better. But since June of last year, when we put the San Cristobal private position that we own in a large Bolivian mining company, it's the 4th largest silver and zinc producing mine on the planet, and they also have a big silver exploration asset, which is one of the key reasons that we invested in this company, and our funds are the largest shareholder. But I'll be showing later kind of a little bit of a flavor of our of the entire activist metals portfolio, along with and without the side pocket. The side pocket is still important for a lot of our existing long-term investors that have been with us, because they own a piece of the San Cristobal side pocket. And anyway, this is the X side pocket performance that we have been showing, because new investors coming into our fund, do not get the San Cristobal. It's only for our existing investors. But let's go on to the next here. One thing that I'm excited to announce, as you can see in the table of all of our funds strategies here at Crescat, is that we have about a year and a half ago, we launched two new funds at Crescat that we call the Institutional macro fund and the institutional commodity fund. And the reason that we launched these two new strategies is that we were reaching our 100 U.S. investor capacity in our flagship global macro fund and in our precious metals fund. And we can't take more than 100 U.S. investors in those funds. They were reaching capacity. And so we had to launch two new funds that they're 90% the same portfolio, but they're different in that they're QP funds, or 3C, what's called 3C7 funds in the U.S. securities lingo. And what that means is that they can only take qualified purchasers. Basically, that means U.S. investors with 5 million or more net worth. But the difference with these QP funds, these institutional funds, is that we can take up to 2,000 U.S. investors as long as they meet that qualified purchaser criteria. And so that capacity constraint that we were limited at among U.S. investors, we've solved that problem with these two new funds. You'll note that the performance is similar to our global macro fund and the institutional macro fund, and similar to the precious metals fund and our institutional commodity fund. But they're 90% the same portfolio. We run them with a little bit less growth exposure, so they're not quite as aggressive. And these are geared to institutional and qualified purchaser investors. So let's go on to the next. We're going to talk a little bit more today about our activist metals portfolio in general, because this is the largest exposure across all of our funds right now in terms of the long side. The global macro fund and the long short fund, those have additional themes and exposures too, and they can go short. But the activist metals portfolio is also the largest exposure in those funds as well, the largest long exposure, and so it's the most exciting thing that I have been involved in my 30-year plus career in the investment industry. The most exciting portfolio that I have ever been involved with is this activist metals portfolio, and this is just some disclosures around that we're going to be talking about. Let's go on to the next. So we're going to look at this in two ways, both X side pocket and that's what we're looking at now. So these are some statistics on the overall portfolio, and along with a map of where our projects are located. The size of the circles in that top map on the right is relative to the target gold equivalent ounces that those companies have based on Quinton's geologic estimates, and that bottom map on the right is the circles correspond to the number of drills that we have active at those locations. So I think we have one of the most exciting metals portfolios among any investment company in the world today. I'm biased, and we are heavily focused on exploration and making new discoveries, because the major mining companies for the last decade plus have underinvested in greenfield exploration and in building new mines. So the world is facing a production cliff, major supply constraints globally when it comes to new metal deposits, and so the companies that own and control the new viable economic metal deposits around the world are going to be highly sought after. And we have been helping get the money to these companies to do the drilling based, with the help of Quentin Henney and his expert geologic advice, helping us target which management teams, which technical teams to get the money to, and which targets to put that money towards to go out and drill and create the world's new gold, silver, copper, nickel, zinc, manganese deposits, the critical metals that the world needs. Now recently, the the Trump administration has issued an executive order, prioritizing critical minerals and paving the way for deregulation and fast tracking on U.S. on U.S. ground. And I'll be talking later here in just a few minutes about all the different U.S. stories that we are invested in. But from a top-down view here, what we're looking at is the X side pocket activist metals portfolio. We have about 75 positions now that we've invested in, and we have invested in a bunch of new, in a handful of new stories in our portfolio, some in the U.S. and we have done in the past 2 months, we have committed to about 25 new PIPE deals, so private investments in public equities, among predominantly our existing companies where we're getting more money to them to do the drilling, and this is what has worked for us, getting the money to the companies through these PIPE investments, where we can come in at a discount oftentimes to the public equity market price and get warrants, and we can build an activist stake. What does an activist stake mean? Well, it means a significant ownership in the equity of these companies. And at the median of these 75 companies that we're invested in, we own 11.7% of these 75 companies at the median on a partially diluted basis, which means including the warrants. So most of these companies are public, but about 17 of them are private companies. And San Cristobal, for instance, which is not included in this top-down view of our portfolio, is a private company, of course. So we have a number of our private companies have gone public and already, and more of them will be going public. I'll talk about that too in a minute. But among these 75 companies, we have 96 drills operating around the world. That, along with our drilling at San Cristobal, is more greenfield drilling than all the major gold mining companies combined. And we have had this high number of drills operating now for 4+ years across our portfolio, and this is why we've been able to be involved in creating more new gold, silver, copper discoveries, I believe, than any other investment fund out there. I really believe we are at the forefront of this of the exploration segment of the mining industry. And among these 75 companies, we have 238 million target gold equivalent ounces of production. Now, these are based on not production of discoveries of new gold, and this is based upon Quinton's geologic estimates, based upon the drilling to date, and based upon resources to date as well that have already been published. But it's Quinton's geologic estimates of what those resources ultimately are likely to be based upon the drilling to date. And so this is an enormous amount of across our companies of new gold, silver, copper, nickel, zinc resources. This is where we believe the attractive value and growth opportunity is in the market today. So across our firm, across the X side pocket, the non-side pocketed portfolio, we have $159 million worth of investments at today's market prices, at today's discounted market prices, in these activist metals portfolio. These companies are still extraordinarily cheap, in our opinion, in our analysis, relative to the metals prices, which have already started to move up. And we think they're going to be highly attractive companies for new investment income to flow into, whether it's retail investors, institutional investors, or corporate M&A, acquirers who the major mining companies who have underinvested and need to be looking to companies like ours if they want to grow their production in the future for potential acquisition. So let's now take a look kind of at the same portfolio, including the side pocket. If we go on to the next. Now, when you include the side pockets of San Cristobal, we have 276 million of assets invested in across our firm in this activist metals portfolio. So this one additional company, because it's a silver focused company, really changes the whole complexion. But we like to show this with the side pocket too for our existing investors who own the San Cristobal. New investors coming into the fund since June of last year, of course, they're only getting the X side pocket, so we show that too, and that's what we lead with in terms of our marketing of our performance is the X side pocket performance. Before we put San Cristobal into that side pocket in June of last year, it is included in all of our returns prior to June for our fund returns, but we report both with and without the side pocket since June. And you can see that we have, including San Cristobal, we've got 280 million ounces of target gold equivalent resource across our portfolio. This is more gold. That's more gold than is owned by the U.S. Treasury, the largest owner of gold of any entity on the planet. So collectively, the target resource across our companies, just to try to put into context, this is a big metals portfolio hiding out in a bunch of small cap companies. There's over 2,000 publicly listed gold companies, gold mining companies in the world, most of them small and micro cap junior mining companies. But with Quentin Henney's expertise, we're able to sift through all of these opportunities and cull out the best of these opportunities, the best management teams, the best technical teams, the best targets. And we're able to get money to those companies through these pipe deals to drill out these targets and build significant activist stakes ahead of what we believe is going to be a monster bull market for precious metals mining stocks that we believe is only beginning. And I want to talk just a little bit before I flip it over to Tavi. I just want to talk a little bit about our U.S.-based portfolio, and we can just leave this slide up here, Trevor, because we have about a dozen investments, 12 to 15 in the U.S. So with the fast tracking and the deregulation that the Trump administration is pushing for U.S.-based stories, we've just added two new names to our U.S. portfolio. One of them is a company called Westward Gold with the gold project in Nevada. This is a big Carlin-style gold target. What's a Carlin-style deposit? It's what made Newmont and Barrick what they are today. It's what made Pierre Lassonde a billionaire in the industry with his Gold Strike deposit. This Westward Gold has a target in northern Nevada that is a Carlin-style target. It's one of Quentin's favorite targets in all of Nevada. And we have just gotten, there's a new position for us. We've just given them money to drill. And we're very excited about that Westward Gold. Another U.S. company that we've invested in recently in a new pipe is Aztec Minerals. They have the Tombstone mining district, or a good chunk of the Tombstone mining district in Arizona, and this is a silver play, Aztec Minerals, and that's another new investment for us. But just to remind our investors about all the other U.S. companies that we have, Western Alaska, a silver and zinc deposit in Western Alaska. They already have a resource, super high grade silver. This is one that can benefit from fast tracking. Tectonic Metals in with their flat project also in Western Alaska. This project, this is a gold project. It's a gold intrusive target, like a snowline, like a Sitka, that we've had a lot of success with this style of deposit. This is an intrusive target that's a lot like the Fort Knox deposit, not Fort Knox where the U.S. Treasury, holds its gold, but Fort Knox, Alaska, which is owned by Kinross, and it's been a very profitable major gold mine, and it's in the same belt. It's in the same province. It's the same style of rock, this gold intrusive rock, where the metallurgy is so good and the ore is so consistent that these can be some of the biggest deposits out there in the world. Tier 1 gold deposits that are very attractive for potential acquisition by a major mining company. The reason I'm really excited about Tectonic right now is it's only 40 kilometers away from Donlin. Donlin Creek is a deposit that has been owned in a joint venture by Barrick and Nova Gold, and this is one where John Paulson and Tom Kaplan, two billionaires, have just acquired the 50% interest that Barrick had in this project, and they're going to be fast tracking it. They're going to be moving it forward. This is one of the largest undeveloped gold deposits in the world right now, and it's 40 kilometers away from Tectonic. But what is so great about Tectonic is that the capex, the metallurgy, and the recoveries are so much better than Donlin. One of the reasons that Donlin hasn't been developed over the last 10 years, and why Barrick didn't develop it, is it's a really high capex. It's going to be like an $8 billion capital expenditure required to build out the infrastructure and the plant that will be necessary to produce this ore, because it is highly refractory, and there's a lot of gold there, but it's going to be expensive to produce. Whereas Tectonic now will be able to benefit from all the infrastructure coming into their neighborhood, and it has maybe $1 billion capex in order to build this potential multi-million ounce gold deposit. And Tectonic, hit the high grade, really hit their high grade core, what we believe is the high grade core of this deposit in Alaska at the end of last season. And it's kind of like that snow line, like those holes snow line hit at the end of their season several years ago, when Crescat, said, okay, we're going to come in big now. We got them more money to drill, and they had a big drill season the next season, and that's when Snowline really started to take off a few years ago, as they drilled and proved out that their valley deposit. Well, Flat, Tectonic's discovery, is an even bigger target than Snowline. I mean, you could hide like 5 or more Snowline valleys inside the target that Tectonic has, and they found the high grade core. Every hole that they've drilled, going back to when this deposit was owned by Robert Friedland when he first drilled it in the 80s, has hit gold. And now that they found the high grade section, we are tipping in big time. We're giving them 2.5 million Canadian to kick off what is going to be the capital raise. They've already announced their capital raise, and I believe it's way oversubscribed. They're going to have an incredible drill season, and we're going to make sure of it, and they're going to get started early. And this is going to be an exciting story to watch. That's Tectonic. I'm going to quickly go through the rest of our U.S. stocks, because there are a lot of good stories. We've got Silver 47, also in Alaska. That's silver and zinc. They have a resource already, but they're going to be drilling aggressively. They had a successful raise recently. They're going to be drilling aggressively this season. We've got BCM Resources. This is a copper gold porphyry target in Utah. Look at that stock today. I think it was really moving up nicely. We have Silver Bow Mining. This is one of our private companies that has a big silver and copper um, uh, resource already, and they have a big property package. They basically control half of the Butte, Montana mining district. This is a historic copper mining and silver mining district that has some of the highest grade copper deposits in the world, and we are the second largest shareholder in this company across our funds. This is a story that I believe we're going to be getting this thing public here within the next few months, and it's going to be one to watch. Silverbow Mining, we've also got Falcon Butte, a private company with a target in Nevada, another copper gold target in Nevada. Freeport-McMoRan is earning in on this project, and they've already proven this discovery. It just needs to be drilled. Freeport-McMoRan is going to be spending the money and drilling that out aggressively, we believe, over the next couple of years. Barksdale Resources, right next to the Hermosa, South 32's Hermosa project that's being developed right now in Arizona. We have the continuation of that ore body right next to it inside Barksdale. We had some disappointment with the drilling last season. We hit the high grade zone that we were going for, but the drill got stuck at the end of it. This company just needs get back out there and drill more. But they have the extension of the Taylor deposit in Arizona, and that's going to be an exciting one to watch. Bell Copper, also in Arizona, that's a copper target. We've got Arcadia Minerals, a private company in Wyoming that has one of the largest, highest grade zircon deposits in the world. Zircon and titanium company. That's one where we've had some setbacks, but we are looking to get that one back on track, especially now with the Trump administration and their executive order on critical minerals. Zircon, titanium are critical minerals. Let's keep going here. We've got Liberty Gold that we have started to invest in with the Trump administration fast tracking. I said, well, Quentin, which companies that are more development projects should we be looking at that are likely to be fast tracked in the U.S.? And he said Liberty Gold is one we should be picking up, and that's a deposit that is going to be going into production now, we believe, in Idaho. Aztec Minerals, this is one of the new stocks we've invested in. I think I mentioned it already. Silver deposit, Tombstone, Arizona. Intrepid Metals, also in Arizona. This is a copper target, and they have a discovery. They have two major mining companies on both sides of them, surrounding them, and Intrepid is going to be an exciting one to watch. They also own some silver. They also own a piece of that Tombstone ground in Arizona as well, historic silver district.